Hey, welcome to the next episode of Unshakable with best friends Amber and Rebecca. We are ready to continue to talk through the 10 hidden beliefs and behaviors that will trap you in a self-sabotage cycle. And so we've done some things about overwhelm and some of those hot topics. Today, I feel like I'd like to talk about an even hotter topic. And the reason why I say it's even hotter than the other ones is because as I filter through, as I serve more and more people, as I continue to talk to people and I continue to realize things about myself, I realize this is at the root of everybody that I serve. And so my vision for today is, what if you could break through this hidden belief, this hidden cycle that you've been in, that's self-sabotaging you and making you show up in the wrong energy, in the wrong state, that you're not getting the results that you really want in your life, in your business, and whatever you have set in front of you. And so, Amber, I want to talk about that ugly word called stress. Ooh. It really is the high achiever's drug of choice, isn't it? It really is. And sometimes we don't even realize how much stress we're taking on. What are your thoughts, Amber?
Yeah, immediately I'm like, first of all, we're talking about the top 10 hidden beliefs and behaviors that keep us trapped. And we can look at stress in both of those ways. We can look at it as a belief, right? Like this is what I know. If I'm not stressed, then I'm not doing enough. Like all of these things contribute to that. But we also, I think, need to look at stress as the behavior side because we act stressed, right? We behave stress. We do. It comes out in actions and behaviors. And so that was my first thought was like, oh my gosh, this is not just a mindset. This has also become so ingrained in us that it's how we act. It's how we behave. It's how we show up. No wonder it keeps us stuck and sick and all of these things. And I love that you said like it's the drug of choice for high achievers. I think there's so much to that. So, Rebecca, I know that, first of all, I just want to say, I just got to get the elephant out of the way. We haven't recorded for a little bit. Now, our listeners aren't going to know that, right? Because we're going in order. But for us, today feels a little like, okay, we're getting back in the driver's seat and, and getting our brains back on and things like that. So first of all, it's so good to be back. Thrilled to be here. But part of our time away, Rebecca, you got some special time away. And I know because I've heard your story and what you learned and discovered during that time that this stress button really is like on the top of your head because it really came to light in a new way for you. And so I'm excited for you to share your story with our listeners as we tie all of this together.
Yeah, I'd love to share it because, again, we're real, raw, authentic, and transparent here. And so, hey, I had a real time thing happen in my life that I really had an awakening from. It was humbling, really, truly humbling. And so, really, I've done a lot of personal work over the last, 13 years, but especially in the last 6. And it's so interesting because I really felt like I was not stressed. Really was, I had certainty over that thing. But looking at my path and where I've been is I've really not taken an actual vacation. Maybe a max. There was one. There was one where we drove to Missouri and stayed with a couple of friends for a couple of days and came back. And maybe a day or two off. But other than that, no vacation in about 13 years. There was no like week off. And because I'm an entrepreneur, I'm always building something. And I'm somebody who always plays full out. And so I also did this hardworking kind of thing in my professional life before that. And even in school when I was a kid. And so I think I've been really in that grind mode since I was about 13 years old. Really, truly. And so it was fascinating because I've been rolling over this saying, I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life. And that is so true. It is so true. There's maybe like couple of small areas that I'm like, let's make some adjustments. Let's keep working towards a goal. I'm not satisfied, right? But for the most part, it's just such an amazing little life we've built here. An amazing husband. I love my kids. I love what I do for a living. I love that I get to get up every morning and change lives. It's amazing. But I had a mentor in my life, a coach in my life, and she's like, hey, it's your state. It's your state. I'm like, my state is freaking awesome. What are you talking about? And I'd say most of the time it really is. And you can ask my family. I'm always pretty chill and really happy, and that's huge as kind of a type A person. And I went away on this 2-week trip, and the first part of it was just downtime. The second part of it was a conference, but it was really training so that I can help my clients and myself even more in health and in wealth. Because really, we talk about being unshakable here. Well, some of that comes with being wealthy. And when I say wealthy and rich, I'm talking about in your health, in your life, and in your finances. It's not all about money. If you don't have your vitality, you don't have anything. So I'm doing some deep study on health and deep study on wealth building, like finances. And so this is a pretty in-depth conference. What happened when I was there, though, was so interesting because, with smokers, they don't realize that they stink like smoke until they've stopped smoking. And I realized when I got there, it was like God's design. In the moment, my creator decided to give me a gift. And he's talking to me and saying, hey, you're in rehab for the drug of stress. This is a stress rehab because what they do is they get you out of your environment. That was the conference. I was in another country. And then they detox you. We've been going through like a health detox where it was liquid only, vegetables and fruits. That's it. And then they teach you a new way to do life. And I'm like, this is a rehab for stressaholics here, which is fantastic because this whole program is made for achievers like me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And what I didn't realize is as I went through this 2 weeks and I finally really unwound, is that I did not have a model. I did not have a model for what that actually feels like to live a life that's not got that tension, that's not striving, that's not the warrior always in action, but taps into the other parts of myself. And in that place, I felt like it's like the ocean. And I don't mean like the ocean itself, because the ocean is very powerful and strong. The sound of the ocean. When the waves come in and then they push out, and then they come in and they push out. And it was like this ebb and flow of what life really could be, of release and then receive. Release and then receive. And releasing can look in so many different ways, like release the things that are from the past, or release some amazing value to others, or, release some things in your health. And then receive. Let others also serve you and give to you, and let things come towards you, like blessings and finance and all those things. And so it was really interesting because when I came back from that trip, I realized, okay, now I have a model. I know what it feels like in my body to not be sitting in this place of stress.
That's powerful. I love that you had an opportunity to feel the difference.
Yes.
And I think that's a thing, especially for achievers, right? We're so trained for stress. And then we have the thought process. If I'm not stressed, I'm not doing enough. If I'm not feeling this weight, then I feel exposed. And really, that's what it feels like. Like, oh, I'm not stressed, I must be exposed. Like, what's wrong with me? And so for you to have this opportunity to feel the difference and experience the difference, I love that. I really do. And I know I've shared this with you at a couple points, but because we're raw and real here, while I would have never used the words I don't think I would have ever asked you, are you stressed? Because I watched your state. I watched the way you were showing up. I watched you handle all of that. But I did have this like gut feeling in my heart, like her nervous system is inflamed, right? Like, and so I just kept praying like for your nervous system. Like there's some sort of calm and control that you weren't quite fully experiencing. Even in the midst of showing up well and leading well and being there for others and being calm and chill. And I think that's where stress can get really tricky, right? Because it's almost like it jumps up and bites us, and we're like, wait a minute. And until we get that detox, we're not even sure we're living in it.
Yeah, so I was running from like my work days looked like usually 8, 9 hours, and my break was maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And that was usually 6 days a week. And that was really my cycle for years now.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's that moment I had a 2.5 hour lunch period, and it was like it was actually mind blowing to sit and just enjoy. And what was crazy about this whole thing, I mean, I hear you, Amber, on this because we're body, we're soul, and we're spirit. And I realized I did all the work that I needed to do on my soul. That's my mind, will, and emotions. I've got my beliefs in line. I've got my emotions. I would, emotional mastery is always in like progress and process, but I'm at a really strong, powerful level in my life. But my body, there was some emotional trauma I went through in 2018 area that I don't think it ever was released from my body, because even in that moment, when the ship is burning down, you just get serious and focused on getting the ship to stop burning. And then you're rebuilding, and then everything kind of grows from there. And I realized I just never stopped in a way to do something about my body. And that was what was really key, is all like emotions get held up in your body. We forget to attend to that. I talk about it a lot in other areas. Like we do these affirmations and they're worthless and useless sometimes. Why? Because they're only using one part of us, and that's not even a big part of us. We're just using our mouth. But we're just saying like, I'm wealthy and healthy and wise or something, I'm just throwing one out there. But there's no emotion put to it, and there's no action in the body.
Yeah.
And so we're leaving out a whole chunk of our body when we're doing these affirmations, declarations. And so that's the same thing here, is I was leaving out my body in the healing process. And I was able to really attend to my body in that, where I didn't even, it was crazy. I went over a week without hiking. Actually, it was almost 2 weeks, because it was the last day we were there. We did go on a little hike. But it was just taking, because I reckon the funny part of that is I have put in these ebb and flows, these, call them rituals. They're musts in my life that I must do. I must move my body several days a week. I must go hiking on Saturday to really challenge my body to grow. I must meditate several times a week, at least 3 days a week. I do a meditation. I must, move my body and I must manage my state. These are all musts for me. And you'd think, right, meditation should be relax and open, refresh, and all those things like priming. All those things are supposed to build. But I was approaching them, even like hiking, it should fill my heart. And I was approaching them like work, warrior, gut through them and say, what's the outcome? And just push. And it was all push energy coming out. And so I realize now it's totally changed the trajectory of how I show up. It's like, how can I create a life? Because the reality of the whole thing was the stressors in my life did not change while I was on that trip. The only thing that changed is where my butt was sitting. I can have the same life here as I did there. In fact, I actually like my home where I live better than where I was. I honestly do. I love the weather here. We're the sunniest city in California, and we have like 2 months of rain, and then it's just all sun all the time. Like, let's go. It works with my hiking addiction. So I like my own better. And you know what? The same sun that my face was looking up to while I was there is the exact same sun that I'm looking at here. And so I have to realize that I can have a life that I'm not in a grind all the time and carrying all this stress in my body. And now I feel almost on a mission to help other people see what I didn't see. Because most of my clients, I have a client that's her famous gesture is this. Like she puts her hand to her head and it's just, and you can tell it's a constant stress state. And it's like, it's heartbreaking that so many of us are sitting in that place. So now I've been awakened. And what I like to do is when I've been awakened, I like to awaken others. And so I was really excited to talk about stress particular today because some of us have been grinding so daggone long that we don't even know how much we're still carrying.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me think, I wonder, what is the need that we are meeting with our stress level? Right? Like, because that's like what's alive in us is our feelings and our needs behind that or our core values. And so I wonder if you just speak to for a moment, like, what are some things? Because I think if we can help people to find the need that's fueling the stress, right? And there are healthy ways to meet that need. Not that stress is always unhealthy. We need a good stress sometimes, right? That is your Saturday hiking. That is a level of stress that you're putting your body through to grow and to challenge. I've been going to the gym with my boys and lifting weights. And so that is a stress, right? Like we're pushing ourselves through. But I think if we can help to find what's that need that's driving this, then we can really help to start pull this apart. And I think that's the point of today for our viewers is like, we can't solve all your problems, but you can. Like you have everything you need. And so we want to give you enough thoughts and enough. We don't have a 3-step program here, but if we can help you to think differently and discover what's going on inside of you behind all of this, then you'll be able to set down on the right road. And that's what we want for you.
Yeah, look at you, my friend, digging deep. I knew, I was like, oh, that's really vulnerable right there. But that's what we're here for, isn't it? Yeah, so we have 6 basic needs. They're basic needs that literally everyone must meet. They, like, to meet our needs, we will compromise our values, our priorities, our standards, everything. We must meet those needs. And so what you're referring to, just to name them real quick, is there's certainty. It means I'm going away from pain and towards pleasure. You know, I feel safe and secure. Then there's uncertainty or variety, because we need that to even have life, right? I always think about the Bee movie when I think about uncertainty, because here he's looking through his closet and he's like, black and yellow, black and yellow. You know, a bee wears black and yellow, black and yellow. Oh, how about I wear black and yellow today? If we had a life like that, it would be boring as all get out, right? So there's uncertainty. And then there's love and connection. Most people stop at connection, never really get to love. But we all need to feel like we belong and we fit and that we're seen, known, and cared for, right? And then there's certainty, significance. Mm-hmm. We need to know that we're unique, special, valuable in some way. And then you've got the 2 needs that create fulfillment in your life. There's growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. Everything in the earth must be growing or it's dying. In fact, if you're not growing in your marriage is dying. You've got to keep continually constant and never-ending improvement and growth, right? And then there's contribution. That means you're doing something for the world around you. So let's link that back to my stress particularly is meeting my need for certainty. Because I feel like if I am pushing, if I am working, then I know that I think that it's going to produce the things that I'm looking for that'll create stability around me. You know, the harder I work, the more money I can make is a belief that goes with that. I want to be certain that I've obtained my outcomes of reaching as many people as possible. And honestly, I'm on a mission because the coaching industry these days is so muddied and disgusting a little bit. You know, you've got these people that are like, I'm going to charge you $50,000. I'll meet with you once a week for an hour in a group. And I'm like, if you are not talking to people, you are not coaching. And if you're telling people what to do, you're not coaching. That's mentoring. And so for me, it's like there's so many, and because I've been a victim of them all, there's so many people that are charging large amounts of money for very little outcome. And so for me, I'm all about training and making sure that, first of all, I'm doing the work in myself first so that I can provide even more value to the people that I'm serving, you know? So it also feeds my mission. And so that stress is also like, oh, well, stress means I'm growing. So that's a need of fulfillment.
Yeah.
And I'm contributing to the part where, in a way that honestly, it's like I'm over contributing to the point where it's making me have less bandwidth and white space that I need. So we look at this. Stress is meeting a lot of my needs, truly. And you know what? If you're meeting 3 or more of your needs, you're addicted. So I was addicted to stress because it gave me certainty, gave me variety, it gave me growth, made me feel like I was contributing. Honestly, it kept, especially the certainty, because it gives me like security, because I'm working, I'm doing what I need, I'm working the field to grow a harvest, right? So it's meeting too many needs, so I'm addicted to stress. And so in this last, it was like without even realizing it, I had to break an addiction and detox my body with all the crap that it was carrying, which was a whole story in and of itself, a wild story, really wild story. And set a new set of patterns into place. See, that trip interrupted my patterns that I've had since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
So first we interrupt the pattern and we detox from that thing, and now we create a new pattern. So that's my job right now, is to help myself and then others to create new patterns in their lives so they're not having this underlying inflammation and your body's angry all the time and you're exhausted and you think, oh, I'll take more supplements, I'll do more exercise, and it's more. And really it's like, no, actually it needs to be less and more like releasing. It's really wild to see that. So yeah, I was meeting a lot of needs with that addiction. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Put you on the spot a little bit.
A
No, but
little
I think
bit.
it's helpful because we don't realize that, right? Like that those needs are being met through this thing. And so I love that the detox was partly changing your thoughts and your emotions around that. It was partly the recognition of, oh my gosh, I'm addicted to stress, right? Like that's the first step always. And then it's doing something new. It's getting it out of your body. And so I wonder if you'd share a little bit, what did it initially feel like to come back home and not be overloaded in stress? Like, what were some of those emotions that came up for you?
Dang, you were asking some
Oh,
questions.
you were in the hot seat today.
I feel the hot seat, like there's a flame under my butt. That's a really good question because it felt weird.
Hmm.
It felt perhaps like boring, like you're used to living your life in the midst of a storm and all of a sudden there's no storm. You're like, or here's a good explanation for it. You're used to sleeping with a fan on high in your room, and the night that the fan isn't working because maybe the electricity isn't working, it's so quiet and silent. And, so I was like, ooh. And I almost wondered if it was I dare I say like a little depression or sadness, but it wasn't. It was a lack of constant stimulation.
Wow.
But then alongside of that is like, hey, we're doing this differently. And an awareness and a knowledge comes in where now that I've experienced what not having that is, I know what it feels like in my body. Now I can have the self-awareness to discover it and be like, nope, we're doing a 20-minute lunch. Thank you very much. Or, oh, our shoulders are tight. How about we just stretch that out and take a steak break? Like, I'm more aware of what my body's trying to tell me. And so then now I can gain some trust. My body's like, oh, maybe I can trust you. Fascinating thing about that is I've had a really difficult time losing weight. For all intents and purposes, I mean, my thyroid's balanced. We're treating blood sugar. I am hiking a mountain peak every single week. I'm moving every day. I'm getting enough sleep at this point. I'm eating almost all whole foods and like eating very healthy, but I wasn't losing weight. Well, come to find out it was inflammation
Yeah.
and I had to release some stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to lose just a little bit every week. Half pound last week, a pound before that, the week before. It's starting to move. Why? Because my body can trust me again.
Yes.
And it doesn't need to hold on to that because it's not in fight or flight. So in the meantime, I'm still dealing with stress. My dad just died. I went to his funeral this morning, and there lots of stressors kind of came on even during the trip. I got very sick. I sprained my ankle. Like crazy weird stuff happened. But when you're in a place of release and receive, it doesn't affect you the same way. So yeah, getting home was just weird. It was weird to try to, but then at the same rate, getting back into rhythms and stuff, there's this threshold because no, we're changing this pattern. We're not doing this way because the invitation is, oh, just get back into the grind. And you know what? I can still get work done without being in a grind. So it just is I don't know if I can even verbalize the real depth of the whole thing. But it's like the fan turned off. It's dead silent in the room. What do I do with this thing? And how do I do life now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact is everybody else around me still doesn't know this. Right? And so they're expecting some other things, or they're wanting to bring that back in.
Yeah.
And so, but I will tell you, some people in my life, they're like, you look so different after you came back from that trip.
Yeah.
And they're attracted. See, now attraction comes in. People want to talk. And it's so weird, Amber. I'm so glad you asked that question. It's just weird.
It's weird. And I'm glad you shared because I think like that's normal though. That weirdness. It's like I always liken it to I have a place that I love to hike in town, and you go through these like side trails and it's all covered in trees, and then you come out into the open. And like, I got to put my sunglasses back on. And like, all of a sudden, I'm like, what is happening? I can't quite see, right? It's almost like that. Like, you've been under this canopy, and then all of a sudden, the light is on and it feels weird. It's not wrong, but it feels off. And I love that you mentioned even kind of the sadness, because I think that that's worth noting. That's grief, right? And so we're grieving. Grieving so many things, but I just want to normalize this. Like we're grieving the old way we did things.
Yes.
Right? Like I got my certainty from being stressed. I found significance from being stressed, and now I'm releasing that. And there's a little bit of grief with that because it feels like a loss in this moment. Or I'm grieving that I lived like this for how many years, right? Like what did I miss out on? Right? So there's grief that comes with that. And so I think it's just a beautiful tension of like, I have more space. It is quiet. I can show up different. I can make a new choice. But also, this is weird. This is hard. Do I really belong here? And I think we have to be able to, I think that's part of the unshakable life that we sometimes miss is we have to be able to hold both those things. So many times with emotions, we want it to be happy or sad.
Yes.
And we struggle to be happy and sad. It's tense. It's uncomfortable. You can't fully explain it, right? Like there aren't really words for it until you experience it, but it doesn't make it wrong. And so I love that you shared that tension, and I wanted our viewers to hear that because that's part of the process. It's part of the detox is feeling that tension. But if you're really going to break up with stress and stop letting it rule your life, you're going to have to sit in that uncomfortable for a minute.
Yes.
For for sure. Yeah. Oh, so Rebecca, how are you staying out of the stress? And do you ever feel it like knock on the door sometimes, right? Like it's like I'm still here. I want back in.
Yes, it is knocking heavily on the door for sure because it's like I get back and my schedule is not different.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is still noisy. It's just not noisy in my head.
Hmm.
And so it is fascinating to just kind of take a step away and look at it. And it's put me to a place of threshold, which is always exciting because when you get to a threshold, you know you're going to actually make a change. And so I'm like, no, no, no. I'll go and maybe I have 2 minutes before my next client call. I'll take that and put my face to the sun and think about what I'm grateful for. And I'll take the moment while I'm in meditation and actually just be fully present, not like boink, 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 trying to struggle inside of the meditation to like stay focused and all this stuff. They're just little redirects
Hmm.
consistently. And then I've really decided to treat my body differently. And I can get into TMI on that. Should I get into TMI on that?
Sure, let's do it. We're real,
Okay,
real and raw.
let's just do it. On this trip, one major thing is your body's health. And I was wicked resistant to one of those treatments. They are doing colonics there. They use the Libby system and they did colonics. And I'm like, oh, heck no. No. And it was really quite crazy what happened. And the reason why I did it is I had several people that had been to this conference before. They're like, just do one, and then one of my natural clinicians, my natural health clinician, she's like, enjoy some, colonics and massages and stuff while you're there. And I was like, oh, heck no. But then inside my intuitive heart, I said, you should probably just try and, you should probably do this. Now they say there's no whatever research. If you look it up, it's not a lot of concrete evidence, but if my life is evidence, I finally decided to tolerate one. And when I did that, it was fascinating because first of all, when you're releasing, you're also releasing emotions. So the first time I did that, it was an emotional and physical release. But also, I thought I had all this acid reflux. It was like hurting down in my sternum. It was funny because it was just actually stuff that was stuck.
Wow.
And I haven't had that problem since we removed the stuff that was stuck. And it helped me get the toxins out that I could not get. And now like I actually, when I was doing this detox, so it was just all liquid and the colonic, so it's both sides, right? I lost like 2 inches on my waist. I'm like, oh, my waist is coming back. And I still to this day, I have, it goes in where I was really pooched out like this, they call it menobelly, not to be too feminine, but it was just, I was stuck with all this inflammation for absolutely no reason. And we had to get things moving. I had to release and also receive. I received some massage therapy through there. And my God, it took a lot of work to get my shoulders to unravel. And then to also let my digestive system have a rest. I am committed now to like detox every so often, to do colon hydrotherapy, like maybe once a month is what we're looking at, to let my digestive reset because my God, inflammation causes so much crap in your body, literally and figuratively. And it's so good to be now finally going on the next. Yeah. And it was funny because, the main speaker of the conference that was there, I love her. She's amazing. But the first time I was getting a colonic, I walked out of the room and the headline speaker for this conference was standing there. And she goes, hey, everything come out okay? And this is how I meet the main speaker. She's very well known. She speaks on the Tony Robbins stage a lot. And and this is how I meet her. Like, I think so. And so through the awkwardness, through stepping out and doing something that inside my little brain, I was like, oh, heck no, right? I got so much progress when I was so thoroughly stuck on my progress because everything I was doing was all the right things, but they weren't working. But I needed to find the one thing that would work. So it was such an emotional, physical release. It was very interesting.
That is, yeah.
So it's the body part. I had to figure out the body part. So, weird tail end of this. Yes, I did it. I tried it. I met a headline speaker for Tony Robbins right when I walked out the door. And that was my progress. But now I am very much like, yeah, I very much see the benefit of taking steps that are truly uncomfortable. Truly. To be able to get my body to be, because here's the thing, longevity is body, soul, and spirit. Longevity is like, I want to be healthy into my 80s. Inflammation has to be taken care of. So there's my really raw and vulnerable TMI story. But it's like now I am absolutely equipped to guide people to do, massive action that will really help. And I'm not a doctor, so don't say, now Rebecca said to go get a colonic. No. For me, it was really helpful, right? Yeah. But now I'm equipped to guide people dietarily and to help them walk the path to make another step. Because if you're a business owner, a business leader, you're an achiever, you're a professional, this is something we consistently neglect. And I just want to highlight that. And maybe I should say, let's normalize taking a look at what's going on in our body, because you can grind all you want today, but you're shortening your life for tomorrow. So how long do you want to be here? Maybe we need to do some uncomfortable things and prioritize things in a different way. Because I used to say, well, I have to work, so I can't do this to take care of my body.
Yeah, that body piece definitely gets neglected. It's easy. It's like laying it down on the altar, right? We can sacrifice our physical health in the name of doing more, getting ahead, or pushing forward. So I'm so thankful that you had that opportunity to release the stress and to get your nervous system to calm down. And now I love that you said your body's trusting you again, right? Like, and I probably said it on here before, but I will walk around my neighborhood with my hand on my chest, talking to myself like, nervous system, I got you. You don't need to freak out. Like, I am here. I am big enough to take care of us. I got this. You can calm down now. And so it's recognizing that part of me is like, I want to be stressed, right? Like, I need to get a need met. Let's freak out. And no, I got you. And it's a beautiful process. It's not a short one. It's not always easy. It's not always comfortable. But there are steps forward to that. And I'm just saying, it's a lot better if you can walk it out with a coach, because there are things on this path that you might not be aware are going to come up. But when you're walking with a guide who's like, hey, this might be coming down the road, or you're freaking out, like, why am I feeling depressed? All my stress is gone. Why am I sad, right? If you have a coach in your corner, they're like, it's fine. This is part of the process. Let's keep walking the process. And so if you're someone who starts down a path and then it gets uncomfortable and you short circuit back, you're like, yeah, we're just kidding. I'm not doing this hike. Like, maybe a coach would be beneficial to help you to walk the length of it. Because Rebecca and I both, we live for the process in ourselves and in others, right? Like, it's so fun, and we can see it, and we can see those milestones and celebrate those. And so I feel like that's something beautiful that we offer. Rebecca, would you like to close us out with anything else about stress?
Yes, my last words before we end this amazing episode. Amber, I always love talking to you, girl. You add so much value everywhere you go. Thank you so much. I don't think that other podcasts can quite do it like we do because there's a level of relationship here that others don't typically have. But this is my final words for this. Hey, I admit I've been battling some stress without even really knowing it. I want to challenge each and every one of you today. What would it look like if for just a moment you chose you today? What would it look like if you chose, with your will, you chose to take care of you today? And taking care of you might look different than how others take care of themselves. But what is one real action you can do that just is about choosing yourself and choosing what you need right now? And sometimes that's just 1 minute with your face to the sun, thanking God for what you really do have. And sometimes it's doing a full-on detox and whole clean out session. Whichever place you are right now, I just want to encourage you that, hey, we're on this podcast, you're listening, it's great. Implementation is everything. So what are you going to do? What massive action can you take right now to change your relationship with stress? So we'll end there. Do you have any last words, Amber? Or are we good?
That's good. I love it. This was fun.
All right. We'll see you all next
Yeah.
time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.